ನೀವು ಶುರು ಮಾಡ್ಬಿಡಿ, ಬರ್ತಾರೆ ನೀವೇ.
ಓಕೆ. आपदामपहर्तारं दातारं सर्वसम्पदां लोकाभिरामं श्रीरामं भूयो भूयो नमाम्यहम्. Welcome back everyone for the continuation of the Ramayana series related to Iswara to Swara. So far we have been able to um, go through 3 of the 16 attributes. So one of the attribute it took 2 weeks for us to complete, uh, which by any standard should have established what is dharma and how Rama is not only a person who is dharmagnya, because the literal meaning of the word dharmagnya is he who knows dharma, he who has the understanding or comprehension of dharma. Dharmam janati iti dharmagnya is the literal meaning of the word dharmagnya. But we can go ahead and say that Rama's understanding of dharma is not limited to only understanding. He lived it, he breathed it, and he walked it. So when he spoke to Vali, when Vali accused him of so many unnecessary things, the way Rama responded, that goes on to show, I mean, there is a lot of lessons that one can draw from that particular incident. One being, if somebody decides to stay on the path of dharma, no matter how difficult the path gets, no matter how many ever accusations the person may have to go through, he will always be able to come clean. And uh, when we closely observe the kind of conversation that happened between Vali and Rama, there was an impulsive nature that was presented by Vali. He was hurling abuses at Rama. He was taking each and every opportunity to ensure that Rama is put to his place, and he wanted to like how we usually argue with people. Whenever we argue with people, we tend to there are two levels of argument, and if we closely observe our own selves, there are two levels of argument. In the first level, what we ensure is uh, उन तक वो बात पहुंच जानी चाहिए. So we want to ensure that whatever we want to convey them should reach them. This is part one of our operations. When we want to involve ourselves in an argument. The second point that we pay attention is, कुछ भी हो जाए, हमारा जो loophole है, that should not come out. No, we know that ಕನ್ನಡದಲ್ಲಿ they say that ಎರಡು ಕೈ ಸೇರಿದ್ರೇನೆ ಚಪ್ಪಾಳೆ. You can't clap with one hand. So if an argument has broken, or if there is something that has happened, then there two people are involved. So equally, I'm also responsible for some of the matters I've contributed. But however, because we don't tend to judge ourselves with that kind of dharma perspective or dharma lens, what happens is we try to cover ourselves. We have to cover our base so that we don't get caught, and at the same time we want to convey whatever we want to convey to them. So, because we have been so used to this kind of an argument, we feel that this is the right way of argument. But when we take a look at Rama's argument, his entire argument was directed at the sole point of establishing dharma and dharma alone. You never see in any case where he mentions that whatever you told me or whatever the accusations that you had against me, he did not try to clear his name by saying that what you said about me is absolutely wrong. You have to take that back. I won't agree with this. You don't hear such kind of statements made by Rama at all. He directly, his opening statement is that Sukshma Paramadurgni yes Satam Dharma Plavangama. He says that Vali, the nuances and the intricacies of Dharma is beyond our reach. It is not possible for every commoner to understand the nuances of Dharma. So he who has known Dharma in such intricate detail can only make such a statement. It is about Dharma for Rama. It was never about himself. And that is one of the another lessons that we need to understand. And what does it highlight is that there is a very popular saying. Uh, we have also been subjected to such kind of saying, because a few years ago, when I personally started the journey into Samskrita, there was a debate which was going on that Samskrita is a dead language, etc., etc. And we all have heard that kind of an argument. So when that was the case, when someone said that we need to contribute something to Samskrita, it's a very noble idea. Always, even now, there are so many people who will present this kind of idea that we have to do something to Samskrita. My teacher always used to remind that you don't have to do anything to Samskrita. Samskrita is enriched by that way. Samskrita is self-sufficient by that way. It's only the other way around. I am because Samskrita is. It is not the other way around. Samskrita is because I am is absolutely wrong. मैं रहूं या ना रहूं, whether I am there or not, Samskrita and Samskriti will keep continuing. It has got that kind of strength. It's only about whether can I take part in it, whether can I be completely involved in it or not. That is the only point. And why I'm saying all these things is, similarly, the same idea also needs to be understood by us. The connection between dharma and the next attribute that we are going to take up today. Immediately after Dharmagnya, Valmiki asked that Dharmagnyascha Kritagnyascha, gratitude. Say that gratefulness, to be grateful to something which is bounds beyond us, which is immeasurably beyond us, that ignites a deep sense of honesty in us, a deep sense of pride in us. And only when we have firm footing in dharma, we will be able to showcase, or we will be able to witness that kritagnyata. Without dharma being strong in us, or if we are not deeply rooted in our swadharma, to be a kritagnya is impossible. It is not possible for somebody to be a kritagnya if they don't understand that dharma intricately. Until then, until we understand what dharma truly is, we can show ourselves, or we can present ourselves to be very honest, very grateful, and all these things. But that will only be a show off. That's all. By show off, I mean that we are trying. It shows. There are many such examples, like especially in the art field itself, you can make it out on the screen, on the stage, you can make it out whether someone is putting a lot of effort to ensure that this production or this presentation comes alive. When someone starts off at a young age and they have to perform something on stage, you can see that they are actually putting in a lot of effort, and that effort also shows. The idea is that the effort must not be shown. The effort need not be showcased there on stage. But somehow, for youngsters, what happens is, the effort also gets gets showed up on the stage. And on the same stage, you observe a veteran when they perform, absolutely flawless. And it almost seems like when you watch them, you witness them, and you say that they did it so effortlessly. And we have ourselves witnessed this in many disciplines, not just in any one particular art field, but mostly in art field, but even otherwise as well. Um, when we compare two scholars, one who is still beginning their journey and one who is an accomplished person, you can see how flawlessly and how effortlessly they do it, and you will see how much of an effort a person has to put. So, is it only the effort, or what is the journey? What does it take for one to become effortless and at the same time deeply rooted? The concept is dharma. Only dharma can lead us towards that kritagnyata. Kritagnyata basically means, to be grateful, to not forget our source, to always remain acknowledging the source from where I'm getting uh, the energy. It can be energy, it can be knowledge, it can be the flow of thoughts. Whatever the point is, I must always remain humble and grateful to that source. Because if I don't remain humble to that source will definitely stop. It will not flow further. So it is very important. It seems as if it doesn't make much sense in the Laukika world, because if I don't pay attention, for somebody who hasn't ever visited Talakaveri, for example, and only knows Kaveri water by the tap that they turn in their houses, for them it is very difficult to get acquainted, get aligned with this particular example. But if you have seen what it takes for that water to come through the tap, and if we see the entire process, it humbles us. It makes us become more and more grateful. For what particular thing will I remain grateful? No, let us take the example of bhojanam. When we eat, to whom should we be grateful? Should we be grateful to the person who served us? Should we be grateful to the person who prepared the dish? Should I be grateful to the person who has provided the place to sit and eat? So if we keep on counting the number of acknowledgements, like how after a movie they give the list of thank thanks to, huge list. So similarly, for every single meal that we take, if I have to count the number of things that I have to be thankful, then that list is exhaustive. It is never ending. So then we put all of them together and we said, Annadataha Sukhi Bhava. Hey Annadataha. So when we say the word Annadataha, basically the word is Annadata. It is a Sambodhanam, it is an addressing. So he who has ever given me the food, or whoever has played an important role, a significant role in providing the food to me today on this plate, all of them put together is addressed with one word, Annadataha. Annam dadati iti Annadata. That is the word. He who gives food, or who contributes in giving the food to us, in providing the food to us, in bringing the food to us, they all are called as Annadata. And the Sambodhana, when we have to address them in Samskrita because of the pratyaya, change in the pratyaya, the word becomes Annadataha. So generally people misuse that word. They say Annadata Sukhi Bhava. No, it should be Annadataha. Annadataha is, I'm humbly, I'm addressing them, and then Sukhi Bhava. May there be Sukham for you. So this is the whole idea. This is how Kritajnata is expressed by us on a daily basis, provided we still follow the culture of sitting down and eating quietly and then completing our bhojanam with this line. Otherwise, if we are just going to grab our lunch, this is not going to happen. I'm sorry, but our idea is not to grab the lunch. Our idea is to consume the food. You see the degree of difference that exists in the usage of word. So we should not be grabbing lunch. Grabbing lunch is, stealing somebody's food as well. That's not the idea. The idea is to remain. That is why that is called as a yajna. It is performed like a yajna. What happens in a yajna is also kritajnata, basically. And in the form of dharmajna, when Valmiki asked that dharmajna, and we saw the episode of Ramayana as well, which showed us the pravritti dharma part of dharma. There are two varieties of dharma. There are two variations of dharma: pravritti dharma and nivritti dharma. So the pravritti dharma was highlighted. What all precautions do we need to take when we are going ahead, or when we are following dharma? So that is the part of pravritti dharma, and the discipline Rama laid out in front of Bali. We understood that. So that is also called as dharma. There is no doubt about it. And in order to be a kritagnya, we need the second variety of dharma, that is nivritti dharma. When will a person truly become grateful, or when can I become a kritagnya? There is a beautiful mantra. Kratu smara, kritagya smara, kratun smara, kritam smara, in the Ishavasya Upanishad. Kratu smara, kritagya smara, kratu smara. That's how the mantra goes. So there is a word called as kritam smara. Whatever has been kritam, whatever has been done to you, we have been put in a channel. The jiva has traveled through so many various janmas, and it has finally landed in this manava janma. So we have to be kritagnya for that. I have to be grateful for the fact that I am born as a human being. So kritagnyata, the concept of kritagnyata starts there. That is the reason why Valmiki is asking. And if we take a look at the series in which he is asking, Gunavan, Viryavan, first we have to ensure the boundary. One needs to have content, and once we have the content that is Gunavan, when we have Atma Guna, then I need to ensure that my boundaries are all well protected, well preserved. So that's why I need Viryavan. And then comes Dharmagnya. Guna is a representative of what is inside. So if I don't have dharma, then there cannot exist a guna at all. So he's digging deeper and deeper now. So first we started with gunavan, then we came to viryavan, now dharma. Now comes kritagnya. Dharmagnyascha, kritagnyascha. Kritagnya. Kritam janati iti kritagnya. So as I said, the concept of kritagnyata starts from the fact that we are born as a human being. So therefore, the ultimate kritagnyata can be expressed, or the ultimate idea, paramount idea of kritagnyata is that I have to be one with Iswara. That is why it is connected with Iswara to Swara. I'm not moving elsewhere. Uh, you can give me lemons, you can give me oranges, you can give me musambis, you give me any fruit. It is all going to be turned into a cocktail called as Ishvara to Swara. That much you can be assured with me. And whatever the word is, twists and turns, it will eventually land in Ishvara to Swara. So why the most important question? Why should I inculcate Kritagnyata? What happens if I don't have Kritagnyata? It's okay. He did his job. I don't have to be grateful to that. Surya, Bhagavan Surya, every day he gives us light, food. Our entire life is actually controlled by Surya. I mean, we see people, you feel pity to about those people, don't get to see the sun for many months. This is a new addition to my experiences now. Um, Such a pity. But how blessed are we back in our country, in our Bharata? How blessed are we that there is not a single day that we don't witness Bhagavan Surya. Every day we witness Bhagavan Surya. And yet, the sense of Kritagnyata has gone down because I haven't understood truly the concept of Surya, the intricacy of Surya. The Surya Tattva, the Surya's Bhagavat Tattva has not been understood by us. Who is that Surya? We are not talking about the physical Surya that appears in the sky. We are not talking about. We're talking about Atma Surya. And if I have not witnessed Atma Surya, if I have not focused myself towards that, because where is Ishvara? This is the most important question that needs to be asked at all times. Ishvara to Swara, when the concept is going to be conceptualized, and eventually when we end up with this large scale event, we must not forget that where is the location. No, it's all about location, coordinates. You have to give the coordinates. Where is Ishvara? I'm going to quote this one line. Please remember this line. I mean, if possible, you can memorize this line, and you can keep this line written somewhere. Ishvara sarvabhutanam hriddeshe arjuna tishtati. This is the line taken from Bhagavad Gita. The 18th chapter, Krishna mentions where is Ishvara, who is this Ishvara, and where is he located. He says that sarvabhutanam hriddeshe, not only in my heart or somebody else's heart, but Sarva Bhutana, in every single person's heart, in every single creature's heart. Okay. Not even just human beings, any creature for that matter of fact, whether it is a small blade of grass, a small ant, or a whale, or a rock, a mountain, and a river, whatever it is, every single element of this nature, in the heart of it, is located Ishvara. Ishvara Sarvabhutanam Hriddeshe Arjuna Tishtati. What does he do? Brahmayan Sarvalokani Yantrarudhani Majaya. He is there, and we have not been able to understand. Why are we not able to understand Paramatma or Ishvara? The reason why I'm not able to understand Ishvara is because of the Maya, the coverage. And we need to remove that cover. And how are we going to achieve that? That is where Swara helps us. Ishvara part is dealt. Now comes the Swara part. Why Swara is so important? Swara Raga Sudha, Swara Raga Yoga, Prananala Sanyoga. So many dispositions have been given by great Vagyakaras like Tyagaraja Swami and all. So where are they guiding us? What are they telling us? That the Swara that we hear, the sound that we hear, it forms a very important aspect for our inner journey. See, we think that nowadays, because of all the kind of education that we have been given, it is always told to us that visual aids are more impactful than hearing aids. If you remember, a couple of generations ago, maybe when I say couple of generations, my guru's guru and that kind of generation, 80, 90 years ago, they never had any visual representation. They never did any PowerPoint presentations or anything. They thought it was only words, isn't it? And what was the kind of power, the impact their words had? They did not even have a book or note taking, the AI integration where the AI collects the notes, it summarizes the meeting. They used to do it all by themselves, that Shravanam and Mananam, it would eventually land us in Nididhyasanam. So in a way, this is a Swara that we are using. The words that we are speaking is also a part of Swara. And if this Swara has to lead us towards that Ishvara, how will it lead us towards Ishvara? When we explore the Ishvara Tattva in each and everything, and it is not sufficient to only explore it through eyes, it is essential for us to even explore through our ears, because we have kind of underplayed the role of ears in all these years, which is unfortunate. We should not. Our Shrotrendriya plays a significant role. You see, when we say Brahmopadesha, what visual aid is there? In Brahmopadesha, there is no visual aid. No? When the Acharya, or when the father, when he places his son on his lap and gives the Upadesham of Gayatri Mantra, there is no PowerPoint presentation on projector. They are not displaying anything. It's the words that carry. Or when the Mantropadesha happens, so it is always the words that carry that power. So that is the Swara aspect, and Swaras have got such a deeper impact. Now they are so powerful that they can lead us towards that Ishvara. And again, Ishvara is not somewhere else around the world, it is here. So that Swara has to crystallize here. The moment I hear anything, any sound, any word, I have to sit down. I have to do the mananam. I have to repeat it in my head. And once that mananam happens, mananam is like, it kind of peels off the upper portion. It peels off the skin, and it takes us inwards and inwards and inwards. And that it eventually leads us towards that Ishvara. That is the whole idea of Ishvara to Swara. And for that purpose, we need to understand that Kritajnata, and how Kritajnata plays an important role. And it shows, if we are Kritajna, it shows that we are deeply rooted in Atma. We are deeply rooted in Ishvara. Because eventually, if one has to be grateful, he has to be grateful to only Ishvara. Everything else is secondary to Ishvara. Ishvara is the primary. Ishvara is everything. He is the supreme. And if I am not being grateful to Ishvara, but I'm only telling people to be grateful to your father, mother, friends, family, I'm not suggesting that we should not be grateful to them, but not at the cost of being ungrateful to Ishvara. Even when I am uh, grateful to these many people, maybe my teachers, my parents, my family, friends, to whom am I actually being grateful to? Truly speaking, to whom am I being grateful to? The answer for that question is that I'm being grateful to Ishvara only. Because if I have not understood the way to witness Ishvara in each and every action, then I have failed in my life. That's why Kritajnata is so important. The reason why we are not succeeding these days, or why we are failing so much these days, is mainly because of the lack of gratitude, the lack of Kritajnata. Not only to the immediate sources, when I say the immediate sources, the people who have contributed immensely, the source whom I can see, whom I can witness through my naked eye. But there is also a source beyond what meets the naked eye, that is Ishvara, who is here. And if I'm not being grateful till then, I mean, starting from my surroundings till Ishvara, if I'm not being grateful, then I will never be Kritagnya. Now, what part of the story of Ramayana can we take up which explains this Kritagnyata? The length of Kritagnyata. I told you it comes in various proportions. It comes in all these dimensions. So it is not like you have to hop on from one episode to another episode in order to see this. That's not what Ramayana is, or that's not what the style of Ramayana is. You take one episode, you dig deeper and deeper. This is the reason why I keep calling Ramayana as KGF. Ramayana is like that gold field. You simply have to keep digging and digging and digging. You will find pure quality, and a quality of purity of gold keeps on increasing as we go deeper and deeper. That is the beauty of Ramayana. Now, the incident that we are going to take up, it's exactly 30 minutes on the clock. So, half an hour of understanding what is Kritagnyata, what is the range of Kritagnyata, why we should be Kritagnya, and all. Now, we are going to take a look at the story part. It's very interesting. The story that we are talking is the relationship that Rama shared with Jatayu. Such a beautiful story. Yeah. Uh, so he introduced himself in the most heart-wrenching episode or heart-wrenching situation where Ravana has masterminded Sita's abduction, and he was able to execute it properly. And he executed, and he was about to snatch Sita away from the ashrama. We will start from that part itself. And Ravana thought that he was very arrogant. Everybody knows that. So one thing with arrogance is, which is the quite opposite of being Kritagnya. So when does someone become arrogant, you ask? When one forgets oneself, when one forgets Ishvara, when one forgets to become grateful to Ishvara, that's when when people become arrogant, just like Ravana. Ravana forgot that he is because of Ishvara. He thought that I will. He is the same foolish fellow who tried to abduct Parvati. I mean, there was no end to his atrocities. Yeah. And sometimes, I do understand the poetic beauty, the aesthetic surrounded around the famous Jata Kataha Sambrama, Jatatavi Jala Pravaha Bhavitasthale. People seem to be very, very fascinated by that shloka, the chandas, the music, and everything. Well, I may sound like that old master with a whip saying that whatever you do is wrong kind of thing. I have no problem in people appreciating that shloka or anything using that shloka, but they have to be mindful, they have to be careful. Because it all starts with small bit of appreciation. Okay. And we start appreciating that. And eventually we end up asking that who is the author? They say Ravana is the author. And you see how quickly our mind gets a soft corner towards Ravana. Oh, is it? I never thought Ravana was a great Shiva, but this is the journey that all of us have passed. We never knew who wrote Jatatavi Galajjala Prabaha Bhavitastale, honestly. And then we found out that it was written by Ravana, and all of a sudden, I have a soft corner for Ravana now. And that is the place where I have a problem. I don't have a problem with the stotra itself. I have a problem with us getting a soft corner for Ravana in our heart. That shouldn't be the case, because all it takes for them is one small place, and then they will occupy. You know about whom I'm talking. Okay. And that was a very cheeky comment to make, but they are no different from Ravana. They are like the descendants of Ravana. So sometimes we have to put our feet down very firmly and say that no means no. And there are several other beautiful shlokas related to Parameshwara, related to Ishvara. If ever we want to use, we can opt for several other shlokas. If you don't want to use any of the shlokas, if you don't find any other set of stotra related to Ishvara, this enthralling Jatatavi Galajjala Pravaha Pavitasthale, okay, you always have the poets of India. You go and approach them, you ask them, they will write, they will compose a poem for you in that same manner. As long as it keeps the public of Bharatadesha from having a soft corner for a person like Ravana, I am in for anything. I'm sorry, I may sound very harsh at this, but if we don't do this, we will end up having a soft corner towards Ravana, like how the situation has been towards Karna. The same thing will happen. He's part of Dushta Panchaka. Vyasa himself has included him in Dushta Panchaka. We are like, no, 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 no. How can he be a Dushta Panchaka? So similarly, it should not happen about Ravana. Anyway, coming back to the story, he always thought that there is nobody who can match his courage, his valor, his strength. And he single-handedly he is capable enough to ward off any threat. And he was not expecting a threat. And then comes this bird, Jatayu, who was old, and he saw what was happening with Sita. The point that we need to understand here is the dharma prajna. When something is wrong, when something is going wrong in and around us, there are situations, there are circumstances where we have kept mum, where we have kept our mouths shut for a longer period of time throughout our history. And we keep on searching for inspiration. Who is going to inspire us to speak up against an atrocity that is going on? A bird did that. Can we believe that a bird did that? A bird witnessed that whatever was happening with Sita is absolutely wrong. And what Ravana was doing was beyond measure. And the bird took the things onto his own hands. And we have been taught. I can't believe that we were all fed this absolute lie that कानून को अपने हाथ में नहीं लेना चाहिए. We have heard this line. I'm not saying that we must go against the system, but if certain atrocities happening right in front of me, and if I don't stand up for that, then I'll become an accomplice. I'm a part of the problem. I'm not solving that problem. Jatayu was not like that. Jatayu decided that I'm going to fight this demon. Ravana here was Ravana in all his majesty, in his cruel majesty. Valmiki beautifully describes him. When Hanuman saw Ravana for the first time, he describes him. Hanuman is describing Ravana, and he says that he has all his Vajra, Vaidurya, and all the Alankaras, all the ornaments. And he was seated there, he was walking from his place to meet Sita. And Hanuman was here and he was looking at Ravana and he describes Bhushitopi Bhayankara. He said that even after being decorated, he still looked very terrifying. So, despite being adorned, he was still terrifying. That was how Ravana is. You can't beautify something which is inherently, which is intricately, which is deep down corrupt, like Ravana. He was corrupt from within. He had no kritagnyata, it was not towards Ishvara. Anyway, coming back, Jatayu saw him. He knew that he could not take him down. And in fact, in the conversation, he did not go and attack Ravana directly. He went to Ravana and he spoke. Jatayu actually speaks to Ravana. He tries to put some sense into Ravana. Says that whatever you are doing, Ravana, is wrong. This is not the way you should be doing. And you belong to such a great family. Now people have another problem. Why bring family in all these matters? That you should not bring family in everything. Baap pe mat jana. It's like, it showcases that your upbringing, it is a reminder. It's like, do you remember that you belong to this great kula, to this great vamsha? If only somebody, by looking at the way we have been behaving these days, if a great Mahatma came down and if they just told us, do you remember that you belong to this great Bharadwaja Gotra? You belong to Vishwamitra Gotra, you belong to Kashyapa Gotra. Do you know who was Kashyapa, who was Bharadwaja, who was Vasishtha? Then it should have opened our eyes, ideally. But unfortunately, we are like Ravana. We have almost forfeited, that is the word. We have forfeited our Gotra Pravara. We say, we say all those things, but we have forfeited the very forefathers who are the fundamental things for us. See the lack of Kritagnyata here, whereas it was very different in Rama, and we see that very evidently in Ravana. So Jatayu reminds him that you belong to the great Vamsha of Pulastya, and you are the son of that such a great Maharshi. And is this what you are doing? ಇದನ್ನ ಹೇಳ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿರೋದು ಮನೆಯಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಅಪ್ಪ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ಕಲಿಸ್ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದ ನಿಮ್ಗೆ. I mean, that was the way he could take that tone because Jatayu was quite old and he could take that tone with him. And this is yet another thing that is quite missing from our society these days. I still remember very fondly that it was never about people at my home only. Anybody in the street, any person from any house on that street had the right to scold me if I did wrong. And my parents would never complain. How dare you, scold my child? Not my child. It takes a village to bring up a child. It's not just two people. It takes an entire village. So anybody could have prompted us, and we should be taking it up. So similarly, Jatayu was in that position, so he could afford speaking in such a tone to Ravana. He spoke to him. He tried to put some sense. He said, "Who are you? Why are you talking to me? No, you don't stand a chance in front of me. Don't lecture me. Okay, I don't want to listen to you. This is my dharma." He speaks on. He keeps on speaking like this, Ravana. Not just in this instance. Throughout Ramayana, you start observing Ravana's words. You can make an observation. You can find out the lines exactly. You can collect them. And he will say that Rakshasana mayam dharma. This is the dharma of Rakshasas. So it means that he has completely forfeited his Janma. Why Janma is so important? If Janma was not that important, then Krishna would not have made that statement in Gita. Janma karma chame divyam epinyo vetti tattvataha. Mention that it is very important for us to remember where we came. That is the whole problem, you see. That we are not remembering Krita. Krita means that has been set forth. What has been set forth? The path has been already set forth for us. I say that I belong to Vasishtha Gotra. Vasishtha has already put forth the path for me, and I have forgotten about that. It means that I'm not being grateful to the path laid down to me by Vasishtha. That's it. So similarly, Ravana says that this is my dharma, and he has changed his dharma. This is called as Pratisiddha Seva. This is exactly what Pratisiddha Seva means. And then Jatayu says that he warns him that don't underestimate me. Once upon a time, I was also a very young fellow, and I could have taken you down in a jiff, and you are nothing to me. I could have taken you down very easily back then. But right now, I might be old. But don't you ever think, even for a second, that I will let you go without a proper fight. I'm going to give you a proper fight. And that's when the fight broke between Ravana and Jatayu. And such a beautiful picture has been, no, a painting has been done by Raja Ravi Verma. We all are familiar with that beautiful painting. That one painting speaks volumes about the intensity of the exchange that happened between Jatayu and Ravana. The intricate details, each and every small, tiny detail that exists in that painting, if we go and observe, oh, it would take a day to understand that painting, one painting. That is the amount of detailing that requires in one painting. That's our Bharatiya Kala. Anyway, so the fight broke out between Ravana and Jatayu, and eventually Jatayu did succumb, which was quite obvious because of the age. And it's not like he went down so easily, just like a pack of cards. No, no. He fought bravely, he fought valiantly, and he destroyed Ravana's Ratha. He had to summon another Ratha in order to take Sita. In order to abduct Sita, he had to summon another Ratha for himself. Another chariot was summoned by Ravana. And he lost his horses, he lost his Sarathi. He made a remarkable damage. He made a huge dent into Ravana's power, his ego, and everything was hurt. Finally, he was like, no, what is this annoying bird? And he took his sword and he cut off his wings. And it took that long for him to realize that the strength of a bird is not in its beak, but it is in its wings. Okay. And then finally, Ravana cut off Jatayu's wings and he left him there to die. That is another, I mean, when we talk about Yuddha Dharma, this is another thing that is highly spoken about in Bharatiya Yuddha Dharma. We see this everywhere. You don't leave the work unfinished because killing is not a sport. Yuddha, especially in a yuddha, when the yuddha breaks down, that the reason why I'm not using the word war is because the word war does not bring out the same intensity or the same meaning, but the word yuddha does. Yuddha means it is the fight that happens for the reason of dharma. Whenever there is a friction with dharma, that's when yuddha breaks out. That is the actual meaning of the word yuddha. So when such a yuddha breaks out, it is always that dharma will be at the forefront. Dharma will be at the core of it. So it is not as a sport. Killing there is not a sport. It's not to flex our arsenal or flex our muscles. There's a calculation behind it. So every time I shoot an arrow or every time I use a weapon, that weapon has to land in a specific place, a designated place of the opponent. The why exactly is that there is a dharma marma there. There is a reason behind it. The reason is if such an ayudha is placed on such specific organ of the opponent, it releases them from all the previous papa karma that they have accumulated. That is the reason why Shastra Prayoga is done. So when we say Shiksha, it is a popular word. No, Shikshati. Shikshati means to punish. Wrong idea. The idea of punishment or the idea of Shiksha is Shiksha Vidyopada. I'll tell you what is the meaning of the word Vidya. Vidya is, Vidya means Jnanam, Atma Jnanam, and Ya means that which takes us towards that. So basically, I have forgotten my path towards Ishvara. Now somebody has to hit me in such a way that I will turn back towards the path of Ishvara. I'll turn back towards myself, seeking Ishvara. I'll become more Kritagnya from now onwards. That is the whole idea of, that is the whole principle of Yuddha. And nowadays, everything is lost. That kind of idea is lost. However, Jatayu did all these things, and Ravana cut off the wings, and because he was trying to torture it. See, torturing is the concept of fighting for terrorists like Ravana, forefathers, and Lashkar-e-Taiba. All these things are new nowadays. There were stalwarts in that arena. Ravana was one amongst them. He occupied a great position. Anyway, so Ravana's idea was to torture that bird. His idea was not to lead that person to Sadgati. I'm telling you all these things because we find a stark contrast with how Rama approached that case. After this, Sita was taken away by Ravana, and Rama came back along with Lakshmana in search of Sita. And just fast forwarding the story, because the highlighted part is the first interaction that happens after Rama and Lakshmana have come in search of Sita. They find this bird. They find Jatayu lying there with blood covered all over its body. And yeah, I fondly remember that one story, that was taught to us in school. Avu and Mungusi. There was one Mungusi. There was a mother who had gone to a nearby well or nearby pond to fetch some water. She had left the baby there, and then the Mungusi saw the snake coming and towards the baby, and it fought valiantly. It killed the snake, and it had some blood on in its mouth, and it was coming out from the home. And at the same time, the mother was entering. She saw the Mungusi, and she thought that the Mungusi must have killed my baby, and she killed that Mungusi or something like that. And then she goes inside and she sees that her baby is absolutely fine. The baby is playing, whereas there is a dead snake. Then she connected the dots. Then she understood that what a grave mistake I have committed, isn't it? So this was a very popular story back in those days. Now, similarly, it could have easily gone this way for Rama. It could have easily gone this way for Rama, but he didn't. He sees the bird for the first time. Lakshmana was there. The ever impulsive, angry young man was alongside him. He sees them. Both of them see Jatayu, and obviously the thought crosses their mind that maybe Jatayu has killed Sita. Maybe Jatayu has attacked Sita and killed her. Who knows? If birds are known for two things, one is their vision, another one is their hunger. They can't control their hunger. They're very hungry, always hungry. So maybe the bird Jatayu has killed. And then Rama was quite observant. So he saw that he's not completely dead. He seems to still have some leftover prana in him. So he approaches him and he asks him that, what happened? Why? See, even though that thought crossed his mind, that was because he was overcome with emotion at that time. Now, this particular episode gives us this idea that even though we are overcome by emotions at times, that fellow has just lost his wife in a jungle, in a forest. He doesn't know where she is gone. He has been searching for her. So he has been searching for her and he hasn't been finding any success so far. So obviously he will be kind of scared. He will be overcome with so many emotions. And due to that emotions, even though for a second that thought crossed his mind that Jatayu might be the killer, but he did not treat him that way. Once he observed him, his dharma prajna came back. That is where dharma plays a significant role. If we do not have that dharma, we will be far, far away from Ishvara. So the best way to get closer to Ishvara is not to buy 2000 rupee VIP ticket. I'm sorry. Okay. It's not the only way to get closer to Ishvara. The best way to get closer to Ishvara is to follow Dharma. The more and more we are following our Swadharma, more and more it humbles us. It makes us understand, it makes us realize how grateful I should be to Parameshwara, to Ishvara. So that way, Rama was observant, so he goes closer to Jatayu and he asks him, who did this to you? He was very clear now. He saw he became very quite alert now. He saw the wings being cut off, gasping for breath was Jatayu. There was nobody to fetch him some water. So he immediately sends Lakshmana to fetch some water for Jatayu. Lakshmana brings some water and he feeds Rama by his own hand, feeds Jatayu some water and asks him, who did this to you? And then Jatayu briefly describes what exactly happened. He could only tell him that he took her, Ravana took her towards the southern direction. That's all he could grasp from whatever happened after he was killed by Ravana. After he gave all this instruction, he also gave a surety, an assurance to Rama. So Vindo Nama Muhurtohim. Valmiki was a great exponent of Jyotisha. Remarkable Jyotishi Valmiki was. He knew each and every aspect of Jyotisha, whether it is Nimitta, Shakuna, Swapna, or Muhurta. He was accurate. So he makes Jatayu say that the Muhurta, the time in which Sita was taken, Sita was abducted by Ravana, the name of that Muhurta, by the way, in a day there are 30 Muhurtas, 15 in the day, 15 in the night. So amongst these 30 Muhurtas, each and every Muhurta has got a name. The time in which Ravana took Sita away, that Muhurta is called as Vinda. The name of the Muhurta is Vinda. Vindo Nama Muhurtoyam. So obviously you can't simply quote this and remain quiet and say that, see, I have expressed how good I am with my Jyotisha Jnanam. Okay, the rest of the thing then you handle by yourself. That was that was not the way that Jatayu left Rama. Said, "See, this Muhurta is called as Vinda, and the Phala, the outcome of this Vinda Muhurta is anything that is lost in this Muhurta will be returned to its truthful owner. So you don't have to worry. You will definitely get Sita back." So theoretically, at least Rama had one big assurance from a great Jyotishi, that is Jatayu. Now, there are many things why Jatayu was a great Jyotishi and why choose a bird? Why not anything else? Because I'll tell you why. Shakuna is one of the 6 major angas of Jyotisha. Jyotisha is a Vedanga, one amongst the 6 Vedangas, but Jyotisha itself has got 6 angas. And amongst them, Shakuna is also one. Shakuna, by the literal meaning of the word Shakuna is a bird. Shakuna means a bird. Therefore, birds have got great power in terms of Jyotisha. That's why Gili Shastra was so famous. Now people have made it they have turned into a circus. That's a different thing. But the truth should not be forgotten that there was an idea of listening to birds. See, again, it is all about Swara. They used to listen to birds, and the birds used to speak in a language that could have been interpreted so that it could ward off, it could remove any obstacles that I have towards going towards Iswara. So that is another thing which we will discuss some other day. Maybe 2 ideas in one day is not good. Yeah, one should not become too greedy. I will keep this for some other day. But however, the fact remains the same that Valmiki is a fantastic poet, who has woven these ideas so beautifully. He has hinted us that what is the role of Shakuna, what is the role of a bird, and how important it is for a Jyotishi to know Shakunas and all. 98% of Jyotishis today, I'm including myself as well in this, are unaware of Shakuna. We don't know how to interpret Shakuna anymore. First and foremost, we do not have any more birds. Around us, there are very few birds. And amongst the very few birds that we have the disgusting pigeons, who make the same dirty sound at all times. They are called as flying rats. Horrible creatures anyway. And so with the limited resources we have, of course, the Shakuna is declining, and we need to revive. For that, we need to get back into nature to identify sounds and study them. Anyway, coming back. So after he got some assurance from him, Jatayu said that, once upon a time, I knew your father. I was a dear friend of mine, of your father. He had already previously also told this, and he introduced himself and all these things. And now, two important things that have remained in our culture, which are very close to every single family member. Whoever has lost their near and dear ones, and you tell them this incident, they will know what kind of significance it holds. One is feeding that Ganga Jalam. If you understand, when a person is dying, they usually feed Ganga Jalam. Because of the reverence that we hold towards Ganga, we pour Ganga Jalam. It need not always be Ganga Jalam. Sometimes Tulsi Jalam will also be good. Sometimes even Jalam is also good. Just water, that's all. Because the Jiva, when it actually leaves the body and is leaving this body, it becomes very thirsty, is what I have heard. So, for that purpose, we give that water. And where is this reference coming from for giving water to this person who is actually leaving the mortal body? Ramayana. Where Rama feeds water to, with his own hands, he feeds water to Jatayu. And then Jatayu peacefully, dies. And after that, the thing that is remaining is that he has to do the Antya Samskara. That is the most significant part. Why is Antya Samskara done? Antya Samskara is done as part of a Kritajnata. It is an act of acknowledgement, it is an act of Kritajnata. What sort of Kritajnata are we talking about here? The Kritajnata is that this mortal body is made up of the elements, is made up of the entire Prakriti. So this body, which is a direct result of this Panchabhutatmaka Prakriti, has to be again given, or given is not the word, has to be again samarpanam. It has to be given back to Prakriti herself. So with that, that is the Kritajnata. Nothing is mine. The idea is everything is mine is not the idea. The idea is nothing. I own nothing. The air that I breathe, the earth that I walk, none of these things belong to me. So that is the kind of Kritajnata that one needs to have. And to whom does it belong? It belongs to uh, Prakriti. Therefore, offering of this mortal body as the greatest summit. See, we are all aware of the some idea of yajna. When a homa or a havan or a yajna happens, there is a samit, a stick, and a samit is actually offered to Agni. So that is again available in the nature. We have identified certain connections with the deity, with the particular tree, with the particular stick, and we are offering that. I don't want to use the word stick, but for the sake of English language, I'm using it. But samit, we understand the samit, we understand the concept of ajya, we understand the concept of charu, that is rice. All this is correct. And we just have to magnify it. What is the greatest resource that I have with me? The greatest resource that we have is this human body. Because human body has helped me to, it has enabled me to remain in the path of dharma. It gave me a choice. It gave me a chance. When nothing was working, I was born as a human being. It was a privilege for me to be born as a human being. And because I could use this human body in order to attain that nivritti dharma, in order to attain or reach towards Ishvara, to express my kritajnata to Ishvara, I could go. And I have used this body. Now I can't simply discard it, use and throw. No, never. You will not see such kind of concept ever existing, even in principle or practice in Bharatiya Samskriti. Everything will go back to its original point. So this belongs to Prakriti, and I have to return it to Prakriti. And that act of returning the body to Prakriti falls on the shoulders of not the person, because that person has left the body. How will he present this body to Agni? It falls on the shoulders of their children, their progeny. They are the ones who are given the responsibility of doing that. Jatayu had no sons. Dasharatha had 4 sons, by the way, and amongst them, he loved Rama. Everybody knows that, how much Dasharatha loved Rama. And when Dasharatha passed away, Rama was nowhere near him. And Rama also loved Dasharatha that much, but he did not get the opportunity to do the Antya Samskara of his father. Such is the fate, such is the Vidhi. But who had the good fortune? I don't know if I can say this. Who had the good fortune of getting that Antya Samskara by Rama? Not Dasharatha. It was Jatayu. So Rama orders Lakshmana to prepare the Chita and everything. Lakshmana does that. Lakshmana was quite an artist in all these things, and he knew each and everything. And then he places the body. Both of them carry, Vidhivat they carry, and they place that on the Chita. And he utters a few shlokas, which are to many people surprise, because not everybody is aware of the mantras that are used generally during that part, no? During the Antyeshti. In the Antyeshti karma, the shlokas from Ramayana are still uttered even to this day. Where Rama says, may you attain the lokas that Nityagnihotri is attained. May you attain the loka which the people who perform 100 Ashwamedha yagas attain. He's saying this to Jatayu. Look at this range. Now, from a mere bird, he is allowing him to, he's elevating him to that level. That is the range that happens. That is the purest form of Kritagnyata. This is how you can express your Kritagnyata. All he did was he fought for Rama. From a Laukika perspective, we observe. That was from the Daivika perspective. From a Paramarthika perspective, that's what Rama did. Taking the mortal body, offering it to the fire, and asking the Jiva that resided in this body for so long that you must leave this body, and may you attain Uttama Loka, may you attain the Loka of great Siddhas, great Mahatmas, may you attain the Loka of the Loka, the people who perform Ashwamedha attain. Look at the noble idea here. If this is not Kritagnyata in Paramarthika sense, what is? Now coming back to the Laukika aspect of Kritagnyata that Rama displays here. He did a very small help. It might have sounded very insignificant. When we take a broader look at the entire story of Ramayana, the chances of us forgetting the role of Jatayu is more. 90% of the time we will forget who is Jatayu. And Jatayu, he became a legend. Not for us. Unfortunately, he has not become a legend for us in whichever way he needs to be a legend for us. But Vanaras, no, they fondly remember Jatayu. And he was an inspiration for Vanaras. So when they hit the Samudra and they see that we have to, we have searched so far for Sita and we haven't found her, that's when Angada starts speaking. And Angada says that, I think nobody can attain the Gati, the great Gati, the Sadgati that Jatayu attained. That's how Sampati got to know about his brother. So goes the story, interwoven. But the fact that Jatayu remained an inspiration for Vanaras, because we will always think that, what can I do to Iswara? A little bit, you have to just remember what was the act of Jatayu, or how will we ever describe the act of Jatayu? Did he think that when I die, Rama will perform my Antyeshti? That's why I will protect Sita. Was this his uddesham? Was this his motivation? What was the motivation behind Jatayu protecting Sita, or trying to protect Sita? Dharma. Only Dharma gets us closer to Ishvara. That is the whole idea of this episode is filled with Kritagnyata in various shades and colors. That's all. And he expressed his Kritagnyata in such a way that he understood that I'm doing this for Dharma. I'm not doing this as a favor to Rama. I'm not doing this because I have a personal dushmani with Ravana. No, he did it for Dharma. That is how we must be channelized. Everything we do is only for Dharma. So that Kritagnyata should be there. What am I? I'm nothing without dharma. So whatever my existence is because of dharma. Dharmo Vishwasya Jagatah Pratishtha is what the Upanishad says. Vishwasya Jagataha. For this entire Vishwam Pratishtha, it sustains, it remains, it exists because of dharma. So I have to remain grateful towards the dharma. That's what Jatayu did. He showcased the highest level of kritagnyata there, and Rama paid back. Rama also, and in contrast, you see what Ravana did. There's no amount of kritagnyata there at all, whereas Rama displays this highest level of kritagnyata where he asks that. And not only Rama, even Sita was like that. There is an incident in Sundarakanda where we hear that the Hanuman's tail has been lit, and somebody tells Sita that the monkey that spoke to you yesterday, his tail has been lit now, so he's also finished. You are done. That's how the Rakshas tried to intimidate Sita. And then Sita goes on and she says that if I have ever followed dharma, if I have ever remained truthful and honest and 100% dedicated to Rama, Shito Bhava Hanumataha. She has that, she asked Agni to remain cool when he is in the tail of Hanuman. I mean, what a vision it is. That is Kritagnyata. He did what did Hanuman do to Sita? In the Laukika terms only, if we see, Hanuman came, he spoke to Sita. And this is the udattata of Avatara Purushas. This is the udattata of Rama and Sita, like the likes of Rama and Sita, that they remember even the tiniest of things that we do, that we offer. That is the whole idea. And if we want to see, if we want to learn what Kritagnyata truly means, we have to see these Avatara Purushas. Small act. Now, is there a better example than Krishna and Kuchela when it comes to Kritagnyata? That is the idea. Now, that's how Kritagnyata should be. That's how deep it was. The impact of Krishna's Kritagnyata was so deep that it was immeasurable for Kuchela. He'd never imagined that he will be so rich one day. Anyway, coming back. So the story here highlights a few points. I'm going to make a list of these points, that how, in what levels Kritagnyata should be practiced and why it is important for us to have that Kritagnyata in life, like Rama displayed. Even if the act is insignificant, tiny, it doesn't matter. We have to remain grateful. So you have to acknowledge it. And while acknowledging, not like, there used to be a saying, like a proverb kind of thing in the villages of yesteryears. ನಮ್ಮ ಮಗಳ ಮದುವೆ ಇಟ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀವಿ, ಊರವರೆಲ್ಲ ಬಂದು ಊಟ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ, ನೀನು ಬಂದ್ಬಿಡು ಅಂತ. ವೇ ಆಫ್ invitation, extending an invitation. You are warmly, cordially invited to our daughter's wedding. No, nothing like that. I've invited the whole village. Everybody is going to come and eat. You also join. Now, how this for an invitation? So that is arrogance. That's how Ravana would invite. So it is Ravana invitation. This is Rama invitation. Look at that preeti, look at that wholesomeness in Rama. Small thing that he did, and he enlarged it. He made the sadgati he granted that sadgati to Jatayu. It is not a simple thing. And then we also see that in the incident of Hanuman, when Hanuman returns, Rama was like, I have nothing else to give you. What do I have that I can give you? He goes and he hugs Hanuman. Yesha sarvasva bhuto me parishwangaha. This is all of me. He gave all of himself to Hanuman. Hanuman was just a messenger. If you take a look at the story, I mean, this is how a person who is not deeply rooted in Bharatiya Parampara, this is how they will view the story, isn't it? Now, Hanuman was a monkey who was sent across the ocean. He went there, he spoke to Sita, came back and delivered the news. He was a postman, a better postman at his work. This much of highlight for it. See, we who are rooted in Bharatiya Samskriti can understand the value. It means so much for us. But if we observe it from an outsider's perspective, it is so little. But observe from the outsider's perspective as well, and yet you will see the udarata, the udarata of Kritajnata, the magnanimity of gratefulness that Rama had towards the smallest of small helps. Do you think Rama would require any help? No. Valmiki says that very clearly. Uh, whoever it is, Brahma Swayambhus Chaturananova, that is Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, whoever may come in front of Rama. Rama can flip the entire world, and he had that capability. But he did not misuse. With great power comes great responsibility. You don't have to look at Spider-Man to understand that. Look at Rama, he displayed that. He showcased with great power comes great responsibility. He never once misused his power. He remained so ever humble at all times. What a great lesson. If why was Rama capable enough to showcase or practice this Kritajnata? Because he was a Dharmagna. There lies the connection between Dharmagna and Kritajnata. We should never get away. If I want to become a Kritajna, then where do I start is the question, right? I start by following my Dharma. That's all simple. I keep on following my Dharma, it brings me closer and closer to Ishvara. And getting closer to Ishvara is the greatest Kritajnata that we can inculcate in our life. That is what is shown in this entire episode. I hope I'm just running out of words because it's quite an emotional episode, not just now, not just while speaking. No matter how many ever times you read Ramayana, this particular episode of Jatayu Samskara, it is too emotional to handle because like out of nowhere, it's a bird, it's a wild bird. What is the connection? It's not like it is my pet bird. Nine Sakidagini. No, it is either it was neither it was a guinea nor was it Sakid. It was not a pet animal, pet bird for him. It's a random bird, and because it what matters both in terms of Rama as in terms of Jatayu. We observe that Dharma. They did their duty. They did their responsibility. That's all. Nirlipta bhava, without getting attached to the outcome of that, they did their karma. They got the outcome, fantastic outcome that displayed highest level of Kritajnata. So if we want to display that Kritajnata bhava, then we always need to remain deeply rooted in our Swadharma. That is the takeaway lesson. If we want to be Kritajna like Rama or like Jatayu, we have to do our part. We have to follow our Dharma. Only Dharma will lead to Kritajnata, and highest form of Kritajnata leads to Ishvara. That brings us to the conclusion of today's session. There are 15 minutes left. I've deliberately left 15 minutes because I've been very greedy in the past two sessions, not giving up a single minute for interactions and question answers. So if there are any questions, any interactions, any clarifications required, please do feel free. And also, usually I don't forget whatever I say as part of an assignment in the previous lectures. I think now I have truly and honestly have forgotten what was the assignment that was given previously. However, for this particular class, for this particular session, it would be very great, very apt if we can identify one more such episode from Ramayana. We are all aware of the story of Ramayana. The idea is not to narrate the story here. The idea is to identify, pick the attributes. So one more incident, one more episode that highlights Kritajnata, that can be briefly uh, written or voice note, however people feel uh, comfortable for themselves, they can do that. I hope that will be a good exercise. It will allow them to uh, like it will provoke that thought of this episode and identify Kritagnyata, because that Kritagnyata should lead us to Ishvara. That is the whole point.
What
I'm not
about
missing Ishvara.
squirrel?
That part is not in Valmiki Ramayana.
Is it?
It's not in Valmiki Ramayana. It is from different other Ramayanas. Valmiki doesn't mention about any squirrel there.
Oh.
So, see, Valmiki need not mention about squirrels because they had a fantastic civil engineer out there. And the brothers Nala and Neela were great civil engineers. They they had the advanced technology to build a bridge over ocean. And not to belittle the contribution of squirrel, because it's a popular legend in our folklore, but again, it doesn't exist in Valmiki Ramayana. But there is another incident. There are many such incidents in Rama's life where we can understand the Kritagnyata part. And that would be much better if, and because I want them to look at Ramayana from this lens. Kritagnyata is the lens for this week. Observe each and every episode that you have heard about Ramayana from the lens of Kritagnyata. Are you able to find Kritagnyata in Rama? And if this happens, I tell you, 16 different lens. Every time you hear the story of Ramayana, observe that episode with 16 lens. Then we have it. That's how Ramayana should be done. Okay, all right. Any questions or anything? Nothing here as of now.
Type out your questions if anybody has chat box. Or if you have anything to say.
Yeah.
So can I add you on that WhatsApp group that we have? I mean,
Please,
nobody
please.
chats there unnecessarily.
Okay. That's the first condition.
Yes. Otherwise, there'll be good morning, good evening, good night. All this will happen. So I will add sir there. So you can all, whatever he has asked you can leave your voice notes or whatever homework he has given, you can just put in that group so he sees it. I think if there are no, okay.
Oh, there is one, I guess. How do we find out our Swadharma? Okay. In order to find out Swadharma, all we need to do is understand our Sampradaya. I'll tell you, we have sometimes it feels as though we are opposed to our own Sampradaya. Oh, you good Sampradaya. I hate that line whenever people say that this is all Sampradayam and this is all meaningless. No, Sampradaya is not meaningless. There is a purpose, there is a meaning behind it. I may not know it, but we need to follow that. I can't discard a thing just because I don't know its value. And kya pata, I mean, after 10 years, I got to know that the thing that I discarded in Ganges from that which I had got from my family is tumba bele bado anta ಒಂದು ವಜ್ರ ಅಂತ. That should not happen. So whatever the sampradaya is, if we keep very much closer to that sampradaya, we have to follow sampradaya. That is the first step to understanding Swadharma. There are so many hidden things in sampradaya. Tulsi puja, rangoli, the art of preparing food, the art of serving food. That is also every single sampradaya, every single way of serving food. If you come to South India, I mean, most of us are all from South India, I guess. When you go to different states, you will find different varieties of serving. ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಪಾಯಸ ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಉಪ್ಪು ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಫಸ್ಟ್ ಉಪ್ಪಿನಕಾಯಿ ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಡಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ, ಬಲಗಡೆಯಿಂದ ಬಡಿಸ್ತಾರೆ. ಸೋ ಮೆನಿ ವೆರೈಟೀಸ್. You can't dismiss any one of them. You can't say that ನಮ್ಮ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯ ಮಾತ್ರ ಸರಿ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯ ತಪ್ಪು ಅಂತ. That's not the way. Every sampradaya has got anything. So the moment we start observing sampradaya, then slowly we get deeper and deeper insights into sampradaya. That establishes our swadharma. That is the best way to identify swadharma. Oh, what's meant by gotra? Oh my God. Okay. Gotra is like to which family we belong. originally to which family we belong. That is, similar to the idea of surnames that we have. It is somewhat similar to that, but quite deeper, and history goes back not several years or few years. It goes back thousands of years. When I say that I belong to Vasishtha Gotra, it is as old as Vasishtha. He is a Gotra Pravata. He is the one who started this lineage, and we belong to that Vasishtha lineage. So that is, Gotra means the family. Family of a Rishi is generally called as Gotra. And in Vedic literature, very interestingly, Gotra means wings. Very interesting meaning. Gotra means wings. Because if we do not have wings, then we can't fly higher. No? Simply saying, but still, Gotra means wings. That is the reason why Indra is called as Gotrabhit. Because the mountains back in those days used to have wings. And Indra cut them off. That's why he was called as Gotra. Gotra refers to wings there. And just an added information, that's all, unnecessary. I hope person got Rupaji got the meaning for the word Gotra.